Hello and welcome to another Lord of the Rings Rise to War video. I'm the player who plays as the King Under the Mountain, and today I'm going to do a quick season update video. I promise this one will be quicker than the other day. And I'm also going to talk about Saruman, who I have recently put in my main formation, which I've been trying to do for a little while, and I hadn't quite got the gear to be able to do it. The gear chest has kind of massively helped that. That's just been on. So I've got a few bits now that'll make that kind of work for me. I'll probably talk through that very quickly. We'll go through the standard stuff like leaderboards and that kind of stuff, and then we'll probably wrap it up, and then we'll probably try to go live at some point this weekend, I guess, for an hour or so, and maybe talk through some other stuff. So start with the map, which I pray as always I'm zoomed out on, which I might not be. Who knows? I am zoomed out. I must set it as a default now to zoom out on the map. So similar sort of pins really to the other day. There's just a couple of additions. There's still this pin right the way up in the top corner between Mad Dune and Mesh. Mesh are actually getting about a bit, to be honest. They're over here as well. So 6.1 million and 1.8 million deaths is pretty good for a day. So that's that one. We have a small pin here between Honk and Odin. Obviously I'm playing in the Kilt and Honk kingdom. Nearly got that horribly wrong. Against pretty much all three of these teams around here, but we'll go into that still. So, Tal has kind of been played a little bit of ping pong with. It's changed hands 2 or 3 times now, and so is this pass here. So, Odin are definitely getting the better of Honk at this sort of stage here because they've took the pass and the keep now. So, that's that one. We'll keep round the extremities for now. A small pin between Golan and Spard, another pin between Mesh, Echo and Ibis, which is an interesting one. They have had to go up and start trying to prepare for that, to be fair. You have Mesh, Golan, Spard and Raw up here with a really impressive pin with 10.2 and 3.1 million deaths. There's been a lot of fighting between those two kingdoms. I believe they're having an awful lot of fun up there. And then another little pin there. And another smaller pin there for 29 minutes in Gundabad. In the south, we are still very much fighting. I say we. This is Peen fighting Avalon and Meow down here. We do know a lot of Peen. It's obviously some people who did come into the server with us. So they are fighting Avalon and Meow down here for us. We are also fighting Meow in here. And we are fighting Meow and Avalon over here. And we have another pin here, which is unaffiliated Kilt, Meow, and Avalon. I would expect this is actually one player, which is pretty crazy in itself. But yeah, it seems a good player, to be honest. Got a really good Saruman. And he may have already appeared in one of my videos, so not to allude to who he is. Then you've got a small pin in Nern. And then you have this small kingdom here, which I always forget the name of this really small kind of area. I need to work that out. It's going to bug me if I don't. I'm going to come back to that, but I will promise to mention that this time because I didn't last time. In the centre, we still have Honk fighting Odin and Otter in the main. We are a small part of that fight currently. You have Honk, Odin, Otter and Kilt, a little bit closer to the ring, which we still own as a kingdom. 19.8 million and 7 million deaths. Because of the way the structure of this kind of season and how the passes have worked, the kind of undeep style pins are now around Ammon Lenk, which is kind of what the game wanted, I think, which is quite interesting, but... we still own SAV. We are still pushing this pass. We failed miserably last night to try and take it, where probably more alchemists died than any other troop type last night. So that was kind of that. We are still at the pass. I'll kind of go to that in the end. But yeah, we're kind of the main people over here. This is the Ibis and Echo Kingdom. This is obviously the Goman Raw Kingdom. This is Kilt and Honk, and this is Odin and Otter. So I really now need to find out what that was. And it's Rots. Of course it's Rots. That is the Rots area right there. And I believe they are semi-friendly with Honk. So I think that's pretty much the map and the pins. And it's still a really, really active server, and it's still been a lot of fun. If we just sort of switch to where we are over here in the main, let's just recall Bard. So currently we are kind of over here. And it's just a constant kind of wall of death, really, between the two sides. I'll probably guard here before we go anywhere else, unless who's this? Sharku with the siege coming in. Not that there's enough armies there, but there you go. So we'll probably just try and trap guard this, but we'll wait another few seconds. I think the people hit crossings at around the 20-second mark, and it saves me trying to guard and then someone else guarding on top of me. Like so. So that's one. What we got here? I'll probably stay in the guard because I'm not going to be online much today at all. So we pick up quite a decent win there. This is what I mean about Saruman. He's currently doing some pretty decent damage. There's not really a lot of point in me guarding actually again because Dane is low on troops, and I have no idea what this guy's bringing. I'll probably get through it, to be fair. That's the great thing now about merit, is you can now check people's merit, and probably perhaps unless they've started the season late, you'll sort of know who you can beat quite simply and who you can't. That'll probably be a bit tougher, so it will depend where Dane's at, really. Dane's just on his health, so the likelihood is I will not take that hit and win. So we're going to recall and come back after the fort. Anyway, that's kind of the action at the crossing. There's obviously the donut whales that come across from time to time. We're going to show you some battle reports. There's been some interesting fights where people have been getting different results to what they probably thought they would. What was Sharku bringing? Because I don't think I've seen him before. Sharku was bringing the snaggers. We find a lot of this with Ibis. They're kind of a mix. It's quite nice to see. They're a mix of quite well-built free-to-play players and some whales. And it's kind of a little bit similar to us. We're kind of similar in the same way. Meme with a good hit here. Nice Dane. Gandalf the White. And then a bit of Gimli. But yeah, nice. So there's been some good fighting around this crossing, to be honest. Again, it's been busy. If I go to, just before I go any further, the hit ratio thing, which is a great way of finding all your fights, by the way. It's still busy. Some of these are in the middle of the night when I was asleep, so there are lots and lots of fights. I was annoyed by this one, actually. I'll probably pull that up while I'm here. I feel I should have done better here, but I don't know if I'm just being pedantic, because I think I've done better before, which is probably where I felt I'd do better. So we have got one small unit in there, but there's also T2s in there. So from a resource point of view, I just feel like I should have really done better with that with the counters. But this is how Saruman's currently looking. But we'll go into that in detail in a minute. Then you've got Gandalf the White, and of course Sauron, who I've changed the skill set on, but we'll talk through that shortly. I mean, it's a very impressive Galadriel, but I just feel losing to an elf is just not very nice. So, full refine unique. The Leto account's pretty huge, to be fair. Z6 Gimmer, full refine unique. Really nice bard. And then a real tanky Falcon. We've seen some real tanky Falcons from him, and they just don't die. There's about 50k of healing in this fight as well, so yeah, it's nice, but I was kind of annoyed by that fight. I presume it evens out a little bit once Saruman's leveled, but with me just filtering in, it's kind of difficult for that. I was more impressed with this, though, because this was a far better result than what I've had before. I know I said I wasn't going to go into battle reports yet, but I've remembered I didn't actually put these battle reports in, so this is quite a nice formation. So this, I felt this was a really, really solid result. This was just after I put Saruman in, and it instantly made me upgrade his gear slightly. I think this was actually the first fight with Saruman. Yeah, it was. So I'm getting around 130, 140k out of him roughly at the moment. When he levels up a little bit more, I think I'll get a bit more. But We'll go into that shortly. Let me just reinforce. And I'm doing lazy reinforcing at the moment where I can help it. I'm literally reinforcing from my base. I still have 3 forts completely full. But yeah, it's I still use the 3 fort system to get troops to me quickly rather than a tactical fort. But it is what it is. So we'll finally go into the leaderboards because I feel like I've kind of babbled around them. We are 6th because we dropped some tiles to do some tiling, like a good fellowship member when we had to push Odin back a little bit out of Dol Guldur the other day, and Otter. So I had to do a little bit of tiling over there. Then we come back over here. So that's the top 10 for production. There is a nice mix in there. The top 20 is also quite a nice mix. To be fair, the mix goes pretty much all the way down. Something from Mad in there as well. And Tomato. Then you have the merit board, which of course has Raven way out in front. While we were in Dol Guldur fighting the other night, he pretty much kept Ibis and Echo at bay on his own for a little period of time at the crossing, which was quite nice to see. I'm currently sat in 4th. I'd like to think after some weekend activity I may be able to catch up in here. Porky's moved very swiftly through the list because he is now a filthy whale after whale in the chest. And he's doing really, really well at picking up multiple armies using Gil, Sauron, Dane, and Gandalf the White. So just the 1DD with his Dane doing sort of 200k damage. Nice see. If I can find a fight from Porky in the next few... I don't know. If I find it in this video, great. If I can't, then I'll try and find a few fights from Porky in the next... Hopefully over the weekend and kind of compare that formation and how it's been working for him, because it's been shredding stuff and he's been beating high level people pretty consistently. So that's good for us, not so good for them. We're still the top 2 fellowship productions. Honk have dropped a little bit. I would suspect this is due to that kind of incursion. I don't use that word very often. Through Tower Law and down. Odin and Otter are still just the 2nd highest kingdom on production, and Ibis and Echo are the 3rd. Mesh keep coming up, and Avalon and Meow keep getting slightly pushed back. That's as we keep working south. And then you've got a lot of fellowships around this sort of million-ish, 500,000-ish mark, with Peen and Rots down here. Peen have actually grown quite extensively, which is interesting. So that was that. From a contribution standpoint, I'm still sat in 4th as well, which you kind of expect because the main part of it is merit, and these 3 players are above me on merit, so it makes sense. Commanders-wise, we have seen some different ones in this season. I would be interested to see how many different ones are in here. So we have got Shadow in there. My Shadow probably would have been in there, actually. There's a couple of Saramans. I mean, there's still... Nice Saruman. There's still the same kind of combinations of people, but you've got a few different ones. There's a Sestaro, there's Alerts. This will be a nice Alerts, actually. The Jartaf account's really nice. Yeah. Very nice. There is... Raven's been using Scalhelm. Disgustingly, may I add, at Z7. You know, the house investment in another commander. So it's quite interesting. There's a few girls thrown in. I don't know if Porky's girl's got gear on. Yeah, it has. That's so tanky. It's disgusting, by the way. And then I don't know if were any other Porkies in here. Yeah, they were. Okay, I can probably do it this way. So he's kind of got now up to the point where his Palantirs are good. He's got a full might set going on. Like I say, a lot of attack. Does some disgusting damage. His Sauron, again, is really tanky with what you'd probably consider at this point best in slot items for Sauron. I know he pulled some stuff that made this work really well. Is his Gil on? His Gil's on here, so what was his... I'm looking for his Gandalf the White, I suppose. There we go. And then his Gandalf the White's a focus built one with the stun. So yeah, he is definitely welled up, bless him. But yes, it's good to see, and he's now moving up that merit board, catching up with me, to be fair. So that was the merit board. Season-wise, we have unlocked all of the targets. We are on day 28. So nearly half a season left. So it's been quite extensive fighting, but there's still kind of half a season, really. Like, this happens all day, this crossing. I mean, I don't know what the durability is like now on the pass. We got it down to about 450-ish, but we were just never going to take it unless we literally tried for all night, I would guess. I'll just probably go into Dol Guldur because I haven't actually been in there today. And I'll just have a look at the pins around Dol Guldur and see where we're at. So it has been cleaned back by Honk, to be fair. But like I say, they get pushed every day through this region. Odin and Otten's movement, to be honest, has been great. They do push from multiple directions, and it is a handful to try and sort out. I'm just building a little Lamb and Langfort to hopefully get some PvP in later on. I will very quickly go into my barracks, and then I'll kind of talk through this whole Saruman thing in a couple of battle reports, and then probably close off for the day. So my barracks is in a lot better state than it was the other day, mainly because I've started filtering in small units, and I promised that I would buy would get some fell beasts in, so I have actually done that also. Like a good boy. Troll situation's far better. I now feel like I can turn around like Boromir and say I have a cave troll, because I have several, so that's good. I lost my Great Beast sieging, which is a little bit awkward. Probably not the best use of Great Beast, but what I will say is, by throwing Great Beasts on the front, it makes the army not look like it's an army of alchemists. So I actually did quite a few siege hits because it looks like I'm sending a main. Just saying, a little tip there. So let's talk through the gear very quickly, and then we'll go into a couple of battle reports, and then we best wrap it up really. So Dane hasn't changed, and his gear hasn't changed. At the moment, Shadow's been dropped to the B team, just while I play around with Saruman, but we'll come into that shortly. Gandalf the White still kind of ahead of the formation with Sauron as my tank. I have changed the effect from agility to protection. That's mainly because I had to change the helm. The helm basically now came across to Saruman, who is also in there. So I kind of think that's probably his best in slot helmet personally. We're getting a lot of damage out of this set. Pretty high focus. I will try and upgrade the relic and try and get some focus rolls at some point. I'd like to get him to Z1 in the future, but Respect 13 I think is quite a nice sweet spot for him because you can get 1 point in the R4, which then scales off this command. I just have to change units at that point because I'm still running Dwarf, so it's not exactly game breaking, but it would help. So yeah, we're getting some nice damage out of him. It's meant, because of the changes that I have made, that I can then change things around. So because I'm going to be using the refine effect a little bit, I was really struggling to find a way of getting the two formations to work with Saruman in it, and I found it really difficult if you haven't got two genuine focus damage dealers like a Sestaro and a Saruman to actually make that work. But what I did was I put all my worn gear into this helm, and I put the rest of my worn gear into this helm, wherever it is, down here. Why am I losing the plot? Here. So the rest of my worn gear is in here. And I can use the refining technique, and it's a little bit annoying to switch my B team and A team. And if I'm being brutally honest, I'm likely to just throw on probably something like this if I'm in a rush. But if I've got time to do things, I will refine my other one of these into this, break it all down and rebuild it. And then I kind of created this just as a small set for a set piece, so it's only got to kind of switch the helmet over. Dane's armor goes across to Bjorn. Gandalf the White's sort of stuff goes across to the Witch King, and Sauron stuff goes across to Falcon at the moment. Now, what I'd probably like to do at some point is also test the sort of main tank gear on Witch King, because he scales off command with the R4, and give him the trolls. And then probably include Gandalf the Grey instead of Falcon and see which one works better, because the gear kind of interchanges a little bit better. So I'm quite enjoying running two formations a lot more than what I used to. It can be quite useful, can be a bit of a pain, but on your barracks in particular. But it is useful for punching through holes, particularly if you've got two fairly solid formations. I mean, what's my levels here? So it's a Z1 Shadow and a Respect 11 Bjorn. mixed in with a 13 Witch King, and then you've got basically a respect 10 tank, or you've got a respect 12 Gandalf the Grey. Either or, I'm going to be doing okay with that formation. It's not going to hit as hard as the main, but it's going to do well. Just to kind of creep in, so we've sort of put Saruman in, and I don't know how I feel, because I was enjoying Shadow, but I just wanted to try something different. And I've really, really wanted to try Saruman since the update. So this was a Shadow fight the other day against one of the Donuts. And again, Shadow's doing around 100k damage while clearing White Council. I completely accept that's great from him. I think this is when I was playing around with... was I playing around here? I mean, it's just a nice formation, to be honest. So I was impressed with that result, particularly as I've got a small unit in there. And it's always nice to kill some else. Yeah, this is when I'd gone back to this build again with Shadow, to be honest. I was trying this 5 and 5 kind of tactic, so it was working okay. Then I did switch it up, like I say, and put Saruman in. And this was a really, really bad example of a Saruman fight, because he died quite early. But because he clears White Council so well, we've still come out of this fight okay. And Dane's done 186k of damage. He actually clears White Council slightly better than Shadow in the early rounds. And this guy's formation I was really struggling with before. So this was quite a nice result. Obviously, I'm running one lot of smalls and he's running swans, so I'll take that as a trade all day long when we've got higher resources. Then we kind of got into a more damage damage Saruman one, where this is again good fight. This guy's a really strong player, and to be honest, I think once I'm leveled up, this result will only become stronger. He's using the Shire ponies on Dane, which is fair enough. I've seen more people use Shires on Bjorn than Dane, so that's quite interesting. But yeah, 196k from Dane, I mean, whack. But yeah, the average damage from these two was good. So that was quite a good fight. I think I'd got another donut fight in here. Yep. So, oh no, it's the same fight. Okay, sorry. Then the Dwarf Lord definitely improved this result for me. Like I say, this guy kind of got shafted really when the 2.5 update came along and changed his Falcon, and his Thorin, to be honest. But it's a really, really strong formation. I know it's T2s, but he's got some strong stuff, so I thought that was a really solid result. And then we had a bit of I think this was sending at the crossing. I struggle with this guy in general because he tends to run really tanky stuff. It's not the fact that he's got this full refine Irma unique, a decent Dane, and his Gandalf the White's quite good as well. Yeah, like focus Gandalf the White, and then his Sauron's always got swans on him, which just literally like cutting through rocks. So I was quite impressed with that. But the sort of damage outputs can be really similar, and considering the level difference and the investment level, I thought that was pretty good. And then we followed up with another strong team and nearly wiped them, which again, pretty impressive. So that was good. I think this was today. There's only a couple more fights to look at, really. So this was today. It wasn't quite full. Again, another strong formation using swans. They do have a lot of tier 4. I don't really know where they have the time to train them, but there's a lot of tier 4 flying around. So another strong formation, but we come out on top there, and Saruman finally leveled up. Yeah, and you do have the odd fight where he does this really low damage where he dies early, which is frustrating. And then the last one, I think that's the same one, isn't it? Yeah. So that was kind of the same fight. So I just wanted to sort of pick through some fights. His damage output's been pretty consistent generally. That's kind of, I've put in there probably two of the worst examples for him, but generally, he's hitting for, what's he hitting for in these? 118 and 111. So I've kind of felt that it's a good change away from Shadow at this point, mainly because this Dane damage increasing, and he is generally outputting around, if not more than Shadow. So my Shadow was kind of kicking out 110 to 120 most fights, whereas sort of top end he's been getting 150, but a lot of this sort of 135 figure, which I do think is helping me turn battles. Once he gets leveled up as well and a couple more points in, I think it'll probably scale to 150 most fights, which is quite nice. and I would like to get some more respect in him. But that's everything I kind of wanted to talk through today. It's been a really fun season. I'm hoping to get live over the weekend at some point. And it'd be quite nice to do that. I think there's a couple of things that people want to talk about on stream, so that's nice. And I want to show some other people's formations, which are a little bit off meta, I would probably say, which is quite nice to see, which you're doing quite successfully. But the season rolls on. We're about halfway through. It's like I say, it's been challenging. It's been hard work, but it's also been a lot of fun. So, if in doubt, as always, follow your nose.